Welcome. Opportunity now to take a look at some stock picks from the small cap space. And for that, I'd like to introduce our guest today. It's Michael Taylor, an independent trader of the markets and also IG client as well.
I am.
It's good to have you here at the IG headquarters, Michael.
Thank you very much.
Let's start off by first of all getting an overview of your position. As I said, an independent trader, and your assessment of what the markets are like at the moment for someone in your position.
I think the markets are difficult. They're more difficult than I've ever seen them, because we're seeing a lot of small caps struggle to get funding. The spreads are widening and we're seeing people losing money and not really coming back, so that affects the liquidity. Personally, I think a lot of the better trades are on the short side, which is harder than going long. It's a lot easier going long when you've got a nice tailwind in the market. People are making plenty of money, everyone's bullish, and there's a lot to be uncertain about at this point. So I think it's tough.
Yeah. Okay. Let's introduce your first chart. I know you want to take a look at the all share AIM FTSE index. This was taken a short while ago from when we were talking here now. So it was down almost just 0.0045%. It's a tiny drop in today's session. What is this telling us?
Well, if you look in October, we can see those big plunges, and that was really the start of, I think, the current trend, because we had a lot of big FTSE, big AIM stocks, Fevertree, Boohoo, Assos, a lot of them took hammerings, and of course that affected the market. We had a couple of companies go bust, like Crawshaw, couldn't get any funding, Fishing Republic, another one, I can't remember if that was in this period, but when I'm made inside on placings, very often the price is getting reduced and reduced, and I've been inside for weeks because these companies are struggling to get cash. And a lot of AIM market companies, they're not generating cash, they're relying on investors to advance those projects. And I think this chart shows it. You can see the trend is down. So from 2019, we had a bit of a bounce. It's hit the trend line of the 200 simple moving average, and we've come right back down. It's really not good out there, Jeremy.
You've also got the relative strength index at the bottom there, the oscillator. What's this telling you? Because that is pointing up.
It's pointing up for now. I use this as a general term of sentiment. So when markets are extremely oversold, it's something I look at, but what I focus on more is the candlesticks and the actual price action. But I just look at this as sentiment.
So how does this compare then to action on the FTSE 100?
Well, the FTSE 100, a lot of companies report in dollars, and obviously dollars done fairly well against the pound. So if we look at the FTSE 100 chart, we can see from October we did have a plunge. It's recovered, but it's not trading too far off its highs. Whereas if we go back to the AIM chart, we can see that it really is well off its peak. So it was 11,000, currently just under 900. 1,100, currently down to just under 900. So I think unless we can see a sustained rally and some certainty in the market and people coming back in the market with cash, the AIM market's going to struggle.
Okay, well let's move on to your stock picks. I know you want to start with Sosander, I believe.
Yeah, I do quite like Sosander, and I think this is a bit of an example of, whereas before we had a bullish market, the stock was trading at about 40 pence, everything was all rosy. I remember there was a placing done at 32 pence for about 3 million, and there was outrage on bulletin boards. People really weren't happy with that placing, but what they should have been doing is filling the boots, because we come back down to July, they raised 7 million at, I think it was 15 pence, which is huge dilution for not as much value. But Sosander now is in, I think, the best position it's ever been in. They've got a huge amount of cash, they've made so much progress, but it's not really reflected in the price. The market is rating this, I think, fairly cheaply. And if you look at the recent results, the gross margin's headed up quite a lot. Average order value, £103, that's increasing. And the conversion rate of people are coming onto the site and actually buying is increasing. So all the metrics are going the right way. They've now got a huge amount of cash, more than they've had since they've ever been listed, because I think they only raised 5 million when they're listed. This, I think, could be a really good buy. I don't own it myself, but I'm watching the price action because a lot of people, they're no longer bullish on that stock. And as our friend Warren Buffett says, you make money buying when people are fearful.
Why do you not have a position on this? You're clearly very up on it.
I am. Well, what I want to see is accumulation in the stock. So we can see from the placing on the chart, the stock did do fairly well. It's come back down, and we're looking possibly at an uptrend. Personally, what I would want to see is a break of the 200 exponential moving average.
Which is the purple one.
It is the purple one, yeah. I'd want to see it set a new trend. I'd want to see people coming in to support the stock when it dips. Right now it's 10% off the lows, not really a huge amount. As a trader, I'm not really a bottom picker. I want to capture trends. But this is a stock that I'm looking at.
Okay, let's move on to your second of the three picks that you got for us in the small cap space. What are you going for?
Altitude this time. I think.
Now, this is not a company I've heard too much about. I've read a little bit about it just going into the interview, but I'm still not totally sure what it does. It's very confusing, I think, from the front page of the website.
Yeah, I think I would probably agree with that because it took me some time also, Jeremy, to work out what it actually does. And they had a transformative acquisition, I think it was at the start of the year, where they bought AI Mastermind. And what this does is a marketplace which takes promotional products and connects the buyers to the suppliers. So if you think of, whereas Rightmove has the marketplace that connects buyers and sellers, this is a very similar model for, at least in my opinion, for promotional products. So if we think of caps, pens, t-shirts, things like that companies are buying, it's connecting them, and if they can monetize that, they can do really well. But the reason why I'm looking at this stock now is because on September the 30th, they're going to announce the results. They had a trading update recently, which we can see wasn't appreciated by the market.
That was the gap, presumably, that opened up there, was it?
That was the gap, and I think this represents people's expectations and the reality. So people were really bullish on it, expecting a lot of big things to come. There's a bit of teething problems. It seems to be that growth isn't as fast as everyone expected, and that's been reflected in the price. But I didn't think it was that bad a trading update, Jeremy. The US business is now self-funding. I don't think it's profitable because they would have written that in the RNS, but they've got 3 million of cash. The price is over halved since where it was a couple of months ago, and these results are going to show if what they're doing is actually working and if it is scalable. Personally, I think it is, but I would look to take a position after the results and if we can see a trend start to move up.
Okay, so again, no position at the moment, but
no
you're standing by
at the moment, but I'm watching it, yeah.
Okay, all right. And your third pick, what's that going to be around?
Rockrose Energy.
Right.
So it's one many IG clients and non-IG clients will be familiar with. It's done very well, and I do hold a long position in this stock from around.
What's it do?
500. It works in the oil and gas industry, so it has acquired various companies, and it's now looking for a pro forma profit of around £180 million. So it's got strong backing from directors, but because of the acquisition that they had, I think some institutions are taking advantage to unwind some positions, because this stock, in my opinion, it's very cheap. We'll see what the results say tomorrow. I have taken a large chunk off the table because I'm a trader and I need to manage my risk. I can't have positions getting too large. But I think this stock still has upside. And
where would you take it to? What's your price target on this? We've got what, 18?
Well, I'm not a fundamental analyst. Okay. I couldn't sort of give a price target, but how I would trade this stock if I was coming into it, I would look to watch the first candle. I would look to buy a breakout of that, because that is the price telling us that things are starting to change. Right now we're seeing consolidation in the stock. Probably a lot of investors sat on a lot of profit. We need new buyers to come in and take those shares off people's hands.
And you think the earnings will provide that opportunity?
I hope so. Well, we'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Okay,
There's
look,
no guarantees in this business,
well,
generally,
indeed, that's right, exactly. Which is why, of course, you have to have a stop in place.
Yeah.
That's the other thing, of course, we have to remember that whenever you put trades in place, a stop loss is always important. But Michael,
I agree.
We will leave it there, but we're looking forward to speaking to you again at some other time.
Yeah, thanks very
with
much,
some more interesting tales from the market. That's Michael Taylor, is an independent trader and IG client, taking a look at 3 stock picks today in the context of the broader market.